Hi there guys, Sam here, welcome back to another video. Now you join me in our Mk7 Fiesta ST to talk about a list of problems that we've kind of had over ownership and discuss that with you lot. So yeah, let's get straight into this one. So yes, welcome back to another video. And I first of all wanted to start by saying fast forwards are a big passion of mine. I love them massively. And I had my car brand new in 2013, which I owned for 4 years. We have since had this car. This belongs to my other half, and we've had that for coming up to almost 3.5 years now anyway. So almost sort of 8 years of experience of Fiesta ST knowledge, and this being the 7.5 facelift model, and this car particularly a 2016 car. So I wanted to go through a list of problems that we've kind of experienced throughout those almost 8 years to help you lot out. They can be sort of like little niggly things, but hopefully things that you can sort of have a think about if you're potentially looking to get the car or just interested to know about it. So yeah, let's get straight into this. So main thing to say is that these cars are absolutely brilliant, and for bang for your buck, nothing really beats them. They're absolutely fantastic. But as with all car ownerships, you know, you do sometimes get some problems. So I'd say particularly when I picked my car up brand new, a brand spanking new car, you know, 15 miles on the clock, my Spirit Blue car, which I'll show a picture as I'm talking a little bit. The first thing I noticed is quite simply like the interior quality and the build quality isn't particularly up to scratch. It doesn't really bode well for like a long-term process, you know, a car that's going to last you sort of 10-15 years without shaking itself to death. Yeah, bits just like the plasticky, scratchy plastic bits, you know, certain like cubby holds and stuff just wouldn't even open. So that was pretty, I didn't let that sort of deter the fact that I'd just got a brand new car and it was brilliant. I just wanted to enjoy it, so I wasn't really too fussed. But yeah, certain things don't work, like in this car, the traction control button, that doesn't always work. The infotainment, the Bluetooth, yeah, hit and miss, to be honest. We've had this one updated quite a few times in this car, and yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work, doesn't want to connect. Buttons on the steering wheel and stuff like that haven't worked. So unfortunately, a lot of the main problems, which haven't been a deal breaker because it's just a fun car, have been, yeah, from the inside the car. And I think a mixture of that is that it is a cheap car, so you know, things do rattle and shake, which is to be expected at this price point. But also because the Fiesta ST has such hard, rock solid suspension, and on UK roads it just gets like just vibrated around the whole of the car, and it just sort of shakes itself to death really. So if you're doing a lot of miles, I did about 40,000 miles in mine for 4 years, particularly motorway driving, you can see how it will get to that, and you will hear rattles, you will get sort of wind noise, all those kind of basic Fiesta problems, but kind of enhanced because it's an ST. It is not necessarily the best thing as a daily in that regard. I certainly see it as more of like a fun, exciting car, and it always puts a smile on my face when I ever get into this car, whether it's a passenger or not. It's great on that front. So those are some of the kind of little things. I mean, yeah, what do you expect at this price point with the interior stuff? But actually all the stuff that matters is great. Like, you know, round steering wheel's great, seats are perfect, so all of that stuff is perfect. Other problems that we kind of went through, the brakes, discs, pads aren't particularly the strongest. You know, I'm just kind of comparing to my ownership, like in my Golf R. Yeah, they just seem to wear out quite a lot just because they're small discs, small pads, and it's a relatively powerful 200 brake horsepower car, and they're not the strongest from stock. You can obviously upgrade them. That's probably what I would do if I was to get another one. Yeah, big brake kit or something would solve that. The front tyres, they do wear quite a lot simply because it can't put its power down. You know, it's just an open diff. It just spins the wheels, particularly in the wet, and that ultimately wears down the tyres. So you do have to replace the fronts. They last, well, for us, they last about 15,000 miles. Yeah, that's just one of those things. Never replace the rears actually on them, but I suppose if you wanted to, you could have a square setup. But yeah, tyres, it's just one of those things. One of the main things that I want to say over the sort of the 8 years, and this has sort of come back into this car as well. My car, Spirit Blue, really nice paintwork. This is a molten orange car, which again, really nice paintwork. Again, you might see at the end of some of my videos where I do my thumbnail ending. Is that the stone chips, the paint is very, very thin on these Fiestas, which is a real shame because this is sort of like an optional, well, at the time, this was the top of the range paint you could get for it, molten orange. I think it was like an £800 option. And yeah, you just get so many stone chips. The same with my Spirit Blue car. Now you can get touch-up paint and stuff for it, but it's just a bit of a problem. It does kind of ruin the appeal of the car. I don't know if it's to do with the shape as well, or maybe the fact it's front-wheel drive, it just flicks up stones. But yeah, it's certainly a lot worse off than a car which I've driven in a similar way, if not harder motorway miles, my Golf R. Yeah, it just picks up more stone chips, and worse stone chips. They just peel the paint away, which is a bit of a shame. The alloy wheels as well, they do, unless you really clean them constantly, they pit really, really badly. They get a lot of brake dust stuck in between them, and I've just found it really, really hard to keep on top of. And that was something in my last car and something that we found in this car. So yeah, just something on the alloys. And also the early models of the ST, they came in a grey paint code for the wheels, which Ford never advertised. So you could never, if you ever curbed it and you wanted to refurb it, it would not match the other wheels, which was a load of rubbish, really. It's slightly changed for this one because it has a slightly darker grey. But yeah, it was sort of like this imaginary colour which no one knew about, which was a shame because obviously very low profile tyres, unfortunately very easy to curb. Yeah, you couldn't actually really respray the wheels without doing all four corners. So that was a bit of a shame, on top of the fact that they are a bit more difficult to clean. Overall, I mean, obviously I'm just nitpicking. There hasn't really been too many problems. The engine is 1.6 4-cylinder. I think it's pretty good. Again, Ford used it in other models as well. They sort of eventually detuned it to the 1.5 4-cylinder, which they stuck into some like Focus ST lines, which I've actually done video on this channel on. And I think it's great. You know, the only thing to watch out for is you do get a lot of smoke from the exhausts, particularly on a cold day, and that will last for sort of like 10 minutes. And as some people's journeys can only be about 15 minutes, most of your journey is a puff of smoke around the back of you. I had that in my last one. You do see it in this one more so, again, if I compare it to, say, my Golf R. So that's one thing to think of. In terms of the actual internals, like, this car's almost done better than my Golf in terms of problems. You know, this car's jump-started that a few times when the battery was dead in that. This one has been absolutely fine. You know, just basic checks to keep an eye on it. I've heard of problems like, I think the boost pressure or something goes. Again, I don't know a massive amount of it technically. You've kind of got to keep an eye on the engine, because I think, again, things can just get rattled about. Yeah, and that can sort of dent performance and stuff. That's just something to be aware of. Just trying to think more off the top of my head. I don't actually think there's been too many issues. Oh yeah, that was one thing. The windscreens. So this car also had a cracked windscreen. I mentioned it on my Golf R as well, and the reason why I did was because it's the easy and simple nature to change a windscreen in a Golf, a German built car. This had the same, and the same people who changed it, no matter what they did, they could not fit the interior trimming sort of back in properly. I mean, I can actually turn the camera around and show you. Just see it there. You see how it's just sticking out all alongside. Now, we've sort of had a brief go at getting that back in, but it's just a bit of a faff. It's just one of those things that you get with these type of cars. And again, I take it with a pinch of salt because it's such a good price point and it's such a fun car. Yeah, I don't really mind those things, but it's just little niggly issues that I've kind of experienced. And because we've owned these cars for so long, I really do think it should help people out. What else did I have? I smashed off a wing mirror off mine. Again, parts are really cheap, so just replaced the glass and the casing and stuff. It wasn't really too much of a big deal. Yeah, I think overall it's been pretty good. You get quite a lot of wind noise. We fitted wind deflectors recently on this, which does help. But yeah, just part and parcel of the car. Trying to think further of any sort of major problems. Servicing is pretty cheap, so that's always been good. No major issues have been highlighted at all. Yeah, I think the one thing to watch out for is just the road surface. When you've got a car which is lightweight and a hard suspension, yeah, you know, that sort of shock has got to go somewhere. It does travel through the cabin, so I think that'd be the one thing to kind of keep an eye on if I was you. But I don't want any of that to put you off. And actually, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I can't really think of too many major things. You know, the car has never sort of broken down or let us down, and it never let me down in the 4 years when I had mine. Heated seats are the best heated seats ever. They just start up like that, and they're just so solid. So yeah, all good overall. So that's really all the list of problems that I can think of, and yeah, not the not the most problematic car. From my personal experience, and if you want to use this as like a fun, get out there for a couple of months kind of car, I think it works. And I think, unfortunately, people who do that, it makes it slightly more difficult on the used market when you're trying to get one, because you've got to be thinking who has owned this car beforehand. I was fortunate to own my car brand new, so I knew no one had owned it. We had this car at 5,000 miles, and yeah, it had a few interesting interior modifications which we had to remove. So yeah, you've got to think of that thing if you are looking for this type of car. But overall, I can't fault it enough. I can't fault it enough. I can't praise it highly enough. Just reminded myself actually on now these cars, the facelift from 2016, they have LED rear lights. My car from 2013 just had normal Fiesta brake lights. And if anyone's a fan of the Mark 7 Fiesta or have owned them, and again it's due to the road quality, those brake lights, they'll die out after about a year or two. They'll just get shaken to bits, and then they'll just break. So it'll be the top light, and then the other ones will go as well. I changed mine probably about 3 times in the 4 years of ownership, and we haven't had to do it on this one because it's LED, so it's slightly better, similar to the Golf R. That's something to watch out for if you're getting a Fiesta ST from 2013 to 2015, that sort of era. So a bit of a faff. Yeah, but there you go. So there's a list of the problems that I can think of, and I think it is testament to the fact that cars are pretty solid. A lot of work went under the hood on this car in terms of the engine and the suspension and like the torque vectoring to make it a great, fun, entertaining car. And I think part of its charm is actually sort of like the rattly interior and the plastics around it. But you know, we have had a few little bits over the last sort of 8 years, but nothing that would put me off personally. But it might put other people off if you want something for a long term, and something that I wanted to share. Just some of the problems that have kind of cropped up, and I count myself lucky that we haven't had any sort of major issues. And I think it's worth stressing that you don't have to have a 40,000-50,000 pound car to have a car that's nice and reliable and a solid solid motor. So yeah, fair play to the Fiesta ST. I've done plenty of videos in the past, so please check out those. But I wanted to share this. I'm a big Fast Forward fan. So I had messages recently from people asking about the Fiesta and thinking of getting it, so I figured I'd do this video off the back of my Golf R one and share it with you all. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments of any problems that you've had with the Fiesta ST. I am aware that they are cars which are heavily modified, particularly in the UK, whether it's cosmetic or the internals. And I'm fortunate enough to have owned a stock car for 4 years, and this car is also stock, so I can kind of give you that sort of rounded opinion. But yeah, let me know if you've had any problems, anything to highlight. Feedback in the comments. It's a community channel, so it might help someone out who's making a decision. So think about that when you drop a comment. People do read them. And yeah, hopefully my videos helped you out from my experience. But listen, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again next time. Happy motoring. Cheers, guys.